Yes, I am Anders Johnsen, the CEO of Documaster. And today I'll start with a problem we solve. Managing data has become a tremendous business challenge in the world, both for consumers, but specifically also for organizations. The data volume and the amount of documents being produced every day in organizations is booming, it's exploding. And this is, there's a multitude of data generators in all organizations that support business processes. And these business processes, they result in documentation. And more of these business process systems, they are popping up every day in online services, and people want to use this in organizations. So they result in a huge documentation chaos. Now this leads to resource inefficiency. People are not able to find the documents they need when they want them. And in an information chaos situation, data privacy becomes a problem. And if you're not able to be completely transparent, it's easy to hide away decisions and important information, and this could lead to corruption. And in a public sector organization, whether it's local, regional, or central government, if the institution or the organization is not able to document properly and show to the public and the citizens their decisions, democracy is at risk and under attack. So what Documaster do, what we do, is we make it easy to store, tag, and find documentation. We do this in small scenarios, for example, just managing all the contracts for an organization post-signing. But in more advanced technical scenarios, for example, controlling the assets of a telco tower industry company, where we have, all the documentation around the sites they have for their infrastructure gathered in one place in Documaster. And when the vision of Documaster is fully in place, we become the documentation infrastructure of the organization, capturing all the documents coming out and all the documentation coming out, all these line of business systems. And we tag that, organize that, and put it into one place, Documaster. So I want to go a bit more in detail on this. So Documaster, we want to be, and we are the infrastructure for documentation for organizations that use our product and our service. And what we do is that we connect to the business systems they use for their process tools. For example, if it's application management, or if it's complaints management, or if it's CRM, logistics systems, whatever they use, we connect to those systems and we capture documentation and we make a copy and we put it into Documaster. And we also, of course, we tag their information so that it's very easy to find it in Documaster when it's in our system. And we do this by partnering up with these these business systems. We partner up with the vendors and we create standard product integrations with these systems. And so by doing this, we collaborate because we don't take out documentation from their systems. We make a copy, and we give them a piece of the pie when we sell and deliver these integrations. We give the partners a piece of the pie, so they want to connect their system to Documaster and help the client to have one place for all their documentation. And when we do this, we call that a data source. When we connect to one business system, we call that a data source. And we scale, so we deliver the same standard integration to every single customer we have with that specific process system. So that's for the live systems the customers use today. We connect, capture documentation, tag it with metadata, and put it into Documaster. In addition to that, we migrate documentation from old legacy systems and we put it into Documaster. Now you can imagine that there's plenty of old systems out there being used with business critical data. They're still used for lookup, but they've stopped using it. But there's very critical information stored in those systems. Now that could be very risky because it could be old technology running, and it could also be very expensive to keep those legacy systems alive. So what we do then is we migrate the documentation in that system, put it into Documaster, and then the customer could throw away that old system, reducing risk, reducing cost. And per system we migrate like this, we call that data sources as well. In addition, there could be paper archives in the basements of organizations that is scanned. The customers can do that themselves, so we can partner up with a local scanning provider, and we put the digitalized documents into Documaster. And when we do that per type, we call that data sources as well. And this is the core of our business. So we try to land, with one data source, we try to land the customers, create sense of urgency, and show them that we can really solve one specific problem. And then we scale the subscription fee of Documaster per data source. And what we have also seen is that because of this, it's not that high of a risk and not that big of an effort to acquire to try to start using Documaster. So we land and expand, and the subscription fee increase per data source. And what we also see then is that per data source, if we get one or two or more data sources connected, the customer becomes really, Documaster becomes really, really sticky. Okay. So the go-to-market strategy, we started off Documaster in 2014. We started off in the Norwegian public sector, and today we have more than 40% of all municipalities in Norway. We're really strong, close to 100 of the local and regional entities of the public sector of Norway as well, and we've gained a good footprint in central government as well. We went into Sweden in 2018, and this summer we made an acquisition of Comprima Software, who had a product that was pretty similar to us but played a bit of a different role, and we can combine that with our own product, and their customer base combined with our customer base in Sweden takes us to more than 30% of all municipalities in Sweden as well. And there as well we can also see that we have started entering into the local and regional entities as well as the central government. Late 2019 we launched a product for private companies, and what we have found is a very interesting space in the telco tower industry with asset management. So we help these telco tower companies control all the documentation of their sites. And this is a global market. And in addition to that, the timing is really good because 5G triggers investments in telco tower companies, and they need to be in complete control of what they have on the sites. So we have customers with our product in Norway, Sweden, the UK, and the US, negotiating with new clients in Finland and the Middle East, and this is going to be a great international journey for Documaster in the telco tower industry. And spinning out of that is the contract management part, because all these sites, these base stations in telco towers, they have landowners with leasing agreements, and the functionality around leasing agreements where you have to have complete control of renewal dates, handle the risk, and be aware of dangerous clauses is something that we have already spun up as a separate offering where we have customers in Norway and Sweden for contract management. So the commercial growth of Documaster has been pretty strong. We started off this year at about 40 million NOK of annual recurring revenue, and with some very good tailwind, we could end up at around 80 million NOK this year. We know we will end up someplace around, between 70 and 80, but with some real good tailwind, we'll get to 80 million NOK. And more than 50% of that growth from 40 to 80 will be pure organic sales. And that is pretty strong, in my opinion. When it comes to some software as a service metrics, you can see that Documaster is extremely sticky. We have a very healthy lifetime value over customer acquisition cost ratio. We are running at a steady 0 churn now. We've been going on since 2014. We've had a couple of churns historically, but in average, we are at 0% churn with over 400 customers on our subscription, and that's pretty strong. And in addition to that, we have proven, without actually focusing on upsell, because we have been trying to land, plant the flag of Documaster, and then, trying to expand slowly after that, but really been, focusing on new sales. We have been able to show pretty good net retention rates. We are on an average the past 4 years of above 120% in average net retention, which is also very strong. We also have a very robust customer base, long-term contracts, public sector heavy. More historical metrics. So the lifetime value of our customer base is growing steadily and good. You can see historically that we've had a very healthy inflow of new customers, historically at 0 churn, and also very healthy lifetime over customer acquisition cost ratios. And with the install base we already have, there is a huge upsell potential in Documaster. We have proven that we're able to increase the average subscription value of our customers, and we've also proven that the average, spanning the entire customer base of the amount of data sources we have connected, that is also growing on a very healthy pace. And we have some, examples here of, for example, a great customer journey with Documaster, where you have, for example, Værnesregionen. We started off there with one municipality in that region, paying us 40,000 NOK per year, with one data source connected back in 2014. Now, 6 years later, they're paying us more than 1 million in annual recurring revenue and have connected more than 43 data sources to the system. And we have several stories like this in the Norwegian public sector. When you look at, we have also an example from one of the very first customers we got in the private sector. We have Knutsen was shipping. We started off, I think it was 3 years ago, with a price of 245,000 NOK a year, and connected that to one data source. In that contract, we decided that one vessel in their fleet using Documaster is a data source. And 3 years later, they have, installed and are using Documaster for all of their vessels in their fleet, 60 vessels, and paying us 710,000 NOK a year in subscription. So we have proven that we are able to do upsell of data sources. Even though we haven't even focused on this area, it's happened more or less organically and a bit by itself. We are expanding the amount of, the menu of integrations that we can sell as standard products. And today we're about 20 to 25 of these, and we are working with about 70 partners to try to build up a huge menu for doing upsell going forward. But when you look at a cohort analysis of the first 50 customers of Documaster, you can see that The average of data sources connected to these 50 first customers we have, you can see that they have reached 5.5 data sources connected, compared to the diluted, when we get a new customer, they usually have one data source. So when we get new in, that would kind of dilute the average. So the average of the total base is 3.1, but for the first 50 customers, the average now is 5.5. And that is a proof that we're able to sell this, but here is an area that we will invest more in to create more upsell. So, plans going forward. We will further scale sales in the public sector of Norway and Sweden, and with the potential Documaster has doing upsell of data sources, we will build an awesome upsell machine to get that potential out of our customer base and help these customers to get control of their documentation from all of these data sources and business systems they use, so we can actually give them control and to give them some to get them organized in their chaos. We will also, as we did in Sweden with Comprima Software, we will find new M&A candidates in the Nordics to expand into new public sector geographies, and also maybe in Northern Europe, and to use an M&A as a kickstart to get into a public sector market and then grow organically together with their product to the acquired party's product, or place our product next to that or replace it, like we did with Comprima Software. When it comes to the private market, in the private industry, we will scale sales definitely in the telco tower industry, where we are successful right now, and we will also spend time identifying new industry verticals and nail value propositions that can be replicated, like we have done in the telco tower industry. Now, a financial milestone for us is 100 million in contracted annual recurring revenue, and we are closing in on that one. And another financial milestone would be that by 22-23, Documaster will be a cash positive company. Now with that, I say thank you very much.